falling in love with outcomes doesn't move you forward. Falling in love with the process does.
Welcome to Success Unleashed, Beyond the Job Site, the only podcast created to help contractors win in business and in life. And now your host, Garrett Bake.
Welcome back to another episode of the Success Unleashed podcast. Today, I want to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart. And here's why. Because I suffer from it, right? And it's the two P's, lack of patience and lack of persistence. Now, I want to tell you a story from one of my favorite speakers, Les Brown. Now, Les Brown, if you know, he is a very famous motivational speaker. And the way that he speaks just brings everything to life. And I was listening to Les Brown tell this story about a Chinese bamboo tree, right? Now, a Chinese bamboo tree, when it gets planted, of course, like every other seed in the ground. And what do you have to do with the seed that's in the ground? Well, you have to water it. And what happens if you don't water a seed or a plant after a period of time? It dies. Now, here's the uniqueness about the Chinese bamboo tree. You have to water it almost every single day, over and over and over it. In fact, it's not just for a few weeks or even a few months, but for 5 years. Now think about that. 5 years of watering something and not seeing any results. But here's the crazy part. In that 5th year, that same bamboo tree that's under the ground, you can't see it. You've been watering it for 5 years consistently. In that 5th year, it will grow as much as 90 feet. 90 feet in the 5th year. You see, because through years 1 through 4, all the growth was happening underground. The shoots, right? The roots, everything underground was building that foundation, that solid foundation that tree was going to need in order to grow 90 feet. Because the truth is, if that same tree would have tried to shoot up 90 feet without having that solid foundation, what would have happened to the tree? Well, one good windstorm and over it falls. So this is one of my favorite stories, right? Patience and perseverance. Patience, number one. Like most contractors, I suffer from a lack of patience. I want things done yesterday. And if they can't be done yesterday, I want them done now, right? Those are my 2 time frames. And you know exactly what I'm talking about. But here's the problem. Most things don't get done yesterday. And in fact, most things don't get done right now either. If you're familiar with the program 75 Hard, I've done it a few times over the years. And one time in particular, I did it 2 times in a row. So 150 days. So basically half the year I was running this program called 75 Hard. Now, the way 75 Hard works is there's a certain number of tasks that you complete every single day. And if you don't complete all the tasks in one day, you go back to the beginning, which is day 1, right? And there's a cool app you can track. In fact, I highly recommend if you're thinking about challenging yourself to try this app. Because what it did for me is it made me focus on the 2 Ps. Patience and perseverance. You see, when I went in, I really didn't know what to expect. I knew what the tasks were, right? I needed to take a selfie without my shirt on every day. I needed to have 2 45-minute workouts, one inside and one outside every day. I needed to drink a gallon of water every day. I needed to read 10 pages from a nonfiction book every day. And then I needed to, I just forgot that. We'll edit that out. What was the 5th part? I already forgot.
Picture, book, diet.
Yes, diet. Was there anything other than the diet? Or was the diet it? Now I'm reinstalling the app just to look at it.
I think it's like, don't eat, you're not supposed to eat garbage food.
Yeah.
But also like follow.
It's diet. Yeah. And then the last piece was to stick to a diet. Now, this diet wasn't like, I'm going to eat junk food all day long. It had to be a healthy diet. And there were no cheat meals. You and I both know there's some diets out there that Monday through Saturday, you eat well, you can have a cheat meal or a cheat day. But this was none of that. And so you had to follow that program for 75 days. If you didn't, again, you had to start back at 0. Now, the first time I did it through to like day 60 and I messed up, right? I forget what it was. I forgot to take a picture, I forgot to read a book, something. And I had to go back to 0. Now, it's a choice, right? You can lie to yourself and say that you did it and continue on, and then you can post selfies on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok about how awesome you are because you did it. Sure. But at the end of the day, you know whether you did it or not, right? So patience and perseverance. I went through this program and it was amazing that what I believed would be the hardest thing, 2 workouts a day or drinking a gallon of water a day, what I believed would be these hardest things actually weren't the hardest things. The hardest thing was patience and perseverance. Patience in seeing the results. You see, because I'm like most people, I may not look like it, but yeah, I got a little extra weight in the midsection, right? And I work out 6 days a week, but I also enjoy sweets. And so I had to give all that up. But it wasn't like I saw the results right away. It took nearly 75 days for me to see the results. And after that first round, I wanted to do it again. And so I waited a little bit of time, and then I did it again. And I did it again to prove to myself that I had the patience and the perseverance to go through it again, right? So then I did it twice, 75 days, followed by 75 days, so 150 days. And it was interesting what happened to my mindset during that period. During that period, I found myself hyper-focused because there wasn't a lot of time to waste. We like to complain about how much time we have in a day, how much time to, spend with the wife and hang out with the kids. And I still got to do estimates and bids, and I still got to drive to the job site, and I still got to take care of the guys, and I still got to go do estimates. And we talk about all these things we have to do. And the truth is we waste a lot of time. Patience and perseverance. So think about it. Do you have the patience and the perseverance to water a bamboo tree for 4 years? 4 years before you see any results. Think about it. I had a mentor of mine one time. He was an expert sales trainer, and he talked about this concept of no. And what he said is, how many no's do you have to get through to get to a yes? And he said, why wouldn't you try and go through as many no's as possible in a day? Because at the end of the day, you're going to have more yeses than everyone else. The no's cancel each other out, right? It's the yeses we're after, but you have to go through the no's. In other words, you have to have the patience and you have to have the perseverance. Now, if you've heard me talk before, you know that I talk about the 5 different phases of a business, right? There's the startup, usually from 0 to about 500K. It's usually you hustling, grinding, and maybe your cousin Bobby or somebody else joins the crew, right? We call it chucking a truck. You slap a sign on the side of your truck and you're open for business, right? You're hustling your way to 500,000. From 500,000 to about 1 million, right? You're in growth mode, right? What does growth mode look like? Well, now you're starting to add some pieces to the puzzle. You're starting to add some systems. You're starting to add maybe some processes, maybe a person or two, but you're still wearing all the hats, right? When we talk about scale mode, now scale mode is you're past $1 million. You're trying to get to 3 to 5 million, right? And it's no longer about how good you are. Now it's about how good you are at managing people, right? So now you're bringing on a team and you need systems and processes, right? And you're still struggling through this back and forth, trying to find the right people. 5 million plus, what are we looking at now? Now we're looking at stability, maturity, right? Now you should have a leadership team, or most of a leadership team, an operating system, right? All these things in place. But here's the problem. Most of you want that $5 million a year plus business, but you're still in year 1. You're still in year 1. And so you don't understand that there's a process. And when you talk to successful contractors, and I've worked with hundreds over the years, you talk to successful contractors and they will tell you it doesn't happen overnight. In fact, it probably won't happen year 1, year 2, year 3, year 4. If you're lucky, year 5, maybe year 6, but usually it's 10 plus years before you start seeing that type of success. Tim Brown, who's been a guest on the show, we talked about this, and it took him 18 years to get to the point where he was running a $14 million a year business and working 1 day a month. But do you have the patience and the perseverance to go through that? I have a good friend of mine. His name is Russ Perry. Now, Russ Perry runs a company called Design Pickle. Now, the cool thing about Design Pickle is they don't have anything to do with contracting. They have everything to do with digital marketing, right? And so what they do is they are a digital design company. And it's really cool the way that he has the business set up. But here's the funny thing about it, right? This year, I think Russ told me that his business is worth around $140 million. $140 million a year business, right? And as we were talking, he shared this with me. I want to read it to you guys, right? Got it here on my phone. I'll read it to you guys. He says, we want the outcome, but we need the journey. And he said, a startup isn't about the money-raising headline. It's loving the grind when everyone else is out having fun. Health isn't about a gym selfie. It's the daily decision to train, even when you don't feel like it. Financial independence isn't quitting your job. It's the 1,000 small no's that let you say a big yes to your future. Falling in love with outcomes doesn't move you forward. Falling in love with the process does. So that's my question to you. Are you in love with the process? The process that requires you to every single day be out there hunting. For some of you, that's door knocking. Some of you, it's networking. Some of you, it's responding to Facebook groups, maybe Facebook ads, pay-per-click, whatever it is. But are you deliberately out there hunting every single day? Are you out there following up with those leads and getting those appointments every single day? Are you closing those jobs or following up with the ones you didn't close every single day? Are you making sure that you fulfill on the work that you said you were going to do every single day? Are you making sure that you're collecting the money and that you're profitable and you're able to pay your people and pay yourself every single day? And more importantly than anything else, are you growing yourself as a leader every single day? Life, my friends, success in life, more than anything, is about patience and perseverance. It's not about the small wins. It's about the consistency to build a strong foundation that will lead you to the long-term results that you're after. So if you're feeling down today, tomorrow, next week, okay, acknowledge it. It's okay. Hell, there's some days I don't want to roll out of bed. I usually get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I've been sick the last couple of days. This morning, I woke up at 6 o'clock. But what do you think the first thing was that I did? I went on a run, a 5-mile run. Now, I'm not telling that to you to brag to you. I'm telling you because I've committed to myself to take care of myself first thing in the morning. And so, yeah, maybe I slept in a couple hours, but I still got done the thing that needed to get done, whether I wanted to or not. So if you want to build a successful contracting business, understand that it's much less about your desire for the outcome, millions of dollars, and much more about falling in love with the process that will take you there. And I guarantee you, if you fall in love with the process, you'll get there every single time. Might take a year, might take 3, might take 5 or more. But when it happens, you'll be grateful that you fell in love with the process. All right, that's all I got for you. You know what time it is. It's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go. Thanks for listening to the Success Unleashed podcast. Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast by liking, subscribing, and leaving us a review. Until we see you again, it's time to get after it. 3, 2, 1, off you go.